Sung Jin-Woo did not begin as a legend. That is the point most people miss. He began as weak, not secretly strong, not misunderstood, actually weak. In a world where strength is measured, ranked, and publicly known, Jin-Woo was at the bottom. The weakest hunter, the one people pitted, the one they avoided teaming up with, the one whose survival itself felt like an inconvenience to others. This matters because real growth does not start with potential. It starts with honesty. Jin-Woo never pretended he was strong. He knew exactly where he stood, and because of that, every step forward meant something. The double dungeon incident is often remembered for the system, the statues, and the brutality. But its real importance is psychological. In that dungeon, Jin-Woo is confronted with a truth most people avoid their entire lives. Effort alone does not guarantee survival. He tries, he struggles, he sacrifices, and it still isn't enough. At that moment, something breaks, but not in the way people expect. He doesn't become angry at the world. He doesn't curse fate. He doesn't blame stronger hunters. He accepts reality. This acceptance is what allows him to live. The system doesn't choose Jin-Woo because he is special. It chooses him because he is willing to continue when there is no guarantee of reward. That mindset is rarer than talent. After becoming a player, Jin-Woo's growth is slow and lonely. There is no cheering crowd, no mentor holding his hand, no applause when he levels up. Most of his progress happens in silence, in dark dungeons, facing enemies that would kill him instantly if he made a mistake. This is where Sung Jin-Woo separates himself from typical protagonists. He does not chase glory. He chases survival. Every decision is calculated. Every fight is measured. He retreats when necessary. He trains relentlessly not because he enjoys pain, but because weakness has consequences. Strength, for him, is not pride. It is responsibility. As his power grows, something subtle happens. People start noticing him. But Jin-Woo doesn't change his behavior. He doesn't seek recognition. He doesn't explain himself. He doesn't announce his strength. He understands something deeply uncomfortable for most people. True power doesn't need validation. This is why his presence feels intimidating. Not because he speaks loudly, but because he doesn't need to speak at all. Silence, when backed by ability, becomes authority. The shadow soldiers represent more than power scaling. They symbolize transformation. Every shadow was once an enemy, something that tried to kill him, something that stood in his way. Jin-Woo does not erase his past struggles. He integrates them. This is an important idea. Growth doesn't mean forgetting who you were. It means carrying those experiences forward as strength, discipline, and awareness. The shadows obey him not because he dominates them emotionally, but because he earned control through survival. As Jin-Woo rises in rank, the world's attitude shifts. The same system that ignored him now fears him. The same people who pitted him now watch him carefully. But Jin-Woo never becomes arrogant. Why? Because he remembers weakness. He remembers fear. He remembers helplessness. And that memory keeps him grounded. People who grow fast often become reckless. Jin-Woo grows carefully. Every increase in power comes with an increase in restraint. That restraint is what makes him dangerous. One of the most misunderstood aspects of Sung Jin-Woo is his emotional control. People mistake it for coldness. It isn't. It is clarity. He does feel fear. He does feel anger. He does feel attachment. But he never allows emotions to override judgment. This is why he survives situations others don't. Not because he lacks emotion, but because he doesn't let emotion drive his decisions. This trait becomes critical as the scale of threats expands from dungeons to nations. When Jin-Woo becomes a national-level force, the story could have easily turned into shallow domination. It doesn't. Instead, it becomes about burden. Strength isolates. The stronger he becomes, the fewer people can understand his perspective. The fewer people can fight beside him. The more responsibility falls on his shoulders alone. This is the quiet cost of power. Most people want strength for freedom, but true strength often replaces freedom with duty. Jin-Woo accepts this without complaint. His motivation is never ego. It is protection, his family, civilians, humanity itself. This is why his power never feels hollow. It is always directed towards something beyond himself. That purpose anchors him. Without purpose, strength decays into arrogance. With purpose, strength becomes resolve. By the time Jin-Woo stands at the peak, he is no longer chasing growth. Growth has become natural. The system that once pushed him now follows him. He dictates the pace. He chooses when to act. This is the final stage of mastery, when discipline replaces effort. At this point, Sung Jin-Woo is not impressive because of how strong he is, but because of how calm he remains while being strong. The true lesson of Sung Jin-Woo is not work hard and you will be rewarded. That is a comforting lie. The real lesson is harsher and more honest. Accept reality. Build quietly. Improve without applause. Carry responsibility without complaining. And let results speak when the time comes. Sung Jin-Woo didn't become a legend by shouting. He became one by surviving long enough to evolve. That is why his journey resonates. Not because it is flashy, but because it feels earned.